All right, freaks and geeks, here is the plan for our bike trip. And it came about because Kai was doing overlanding. Sorry, there's a whole lot of action going on over here. Emily's out working in the backyard and dogs are barking and all kinds of stuff. And Kai went overlanding with a friend last year. And this is a place that's, or a route that's one of the only in Texas that's known, established, because we don't have a lot of public land. And so connecting a whole bunch of stuff together is really cool. And they had a great time, and they barely needed four-wheel drive, or not at all, except you can see a big feature of it is water crossings. And they had a really good time last year. So I thought for this fall that Kai and I could do it by bike, because a kind of average four-wheel drive route that's actually kind of tame and lame is actually perfect for gravel biking. And so I started poking around and looking at it and trying to find maps of this thing. And you can see these guys, well, I'll get to that in a second. Well, no, let's go ahead and do it. So
as I mentioned earlier, it's illegal to off-road in the river, even though it's a public
One thing that
waterway.
they did that was really cool, I noticed, is there's an island where you can camp in the middle of the river. So I spent a long time trying to figure out
On the trail I've had yet.
where this is. Let's see if they do a drone shot of it. Yeah, it's right here, and there's a branch of the river that goes around the other side of it. So it's technically an island, so you can do dispersed camping on this island overnight. And that's something else, man. That's really, really cool. Okay, so they get in the river and dudes being dudes with their coffee and stuff. So if the weather's nice to at least soak your feet in that after a day. So what if we make that the midpoint and camp there overnight, right? So I was doing all this digging around, trying to figure out where this actually exists. So you can find this route, although you pretty much have to pay to get the GPX route. And then watching a bunch of videos of people that have done it. Fredericksburg is down here, and Llano, Texas is about here. They'll do it, and they said it's doable in a day if you kind of haul ass. This isn't a truck or a Jeep. And actually only half of it is off-road or gravel. Half of it's paved. So the parts that are paved are really boring, and they're down here. And I was like, well, okay, so this is the best part right here. And then also, where do we start? And if we're coming from the east, we live like over here somewhere. We could come here, start here, and then do some sort of version of this, right? But where is that camping place? And also, where do we get water and such from along the way? Because there is a race that's only on its second year called the Central Texas Showdown, and they do these this isn't good, let's go here, very short versions. They're kind of like in this exact same area. And I asked, because I did the East Texas 400, or tried to, my bike broke. And then there's this one, and then, oh, we want to go back to here. Sorry, drifting with the mouse. And then there's this, and then I get to this, and this is all pavement. It's south of Fredericksburg, and it's 300 miles long. And I'm like, okay, don't want to do that much pavement and 300 miles of, and then this is the same thing, and then you go further south and you get a little bit of off-road way down here, but all this pavement, which means cars and everything. If we zoom in, there's Fredericksburg in the middle. Enchanted Rock is right about here, which is, if you know what that is really cool. And so I'm like, well, actually, this is all pavement right here. I'm actually like, the best version of this is the 172 miler It's 50% gravel. It starts in Llano. We can do this and then go around here, and then turns out that the place to camp on the river overnight is right about here on the far end of if we start here. And also, talking to a lot of people, there is no water like for mega stretches. Like there's one faucet on the back of a church here that people know of for sure. So we got to do 80 something miles. Oh, and also we want to recon this course. So what if we want to race it next year, right? So while we're riding it, we can ride it at a casual pace, Kai and I, but keep an eye out for where places are to grab water, and that'll give us an advantage next year. And so that means we would actually go over here and check out this campground and stuff, right? But this long stretch from here to here with no water is not good. But if we camped overnight here where that island is, we figured out, then on the way back, then we have the Castell store, which is actually the start and stop of this race. And we would just go right through it and pick up food along the way, and that breaks up our second day of about 80 something miles with a stop halfway. And I've already checked to make sure that they're going to be open on Sunday. We would start on a Saturday morning. And the reason we're not doing this race this year is Kai has classes and he has Friday off, but we could spend Friday getting there and then start Saturday morning from here and then do this and then go through here. Okay, so turns out that there's a water stop on one of the other race courses. If you do this guy, I noticed that right here, south of Enchanted Rock at this one location, there's water there. And I'm like, okay, but this is on the longer course that we're not gonna do. Can we add this to the previous course? And so I did a lot of finagling and trying to figure it out. It's 8 miles off the course, so it adds 16 miles to do this and then get back here, back onto our course, south of Enchanted Rock, as you can see. Where's Enchanted Rock? Sorry, I keep getting interrupted, but Emily is pouring out there. She's pouring boiling water. It's a trick that I learned a long time ago. Boiling water with cayenne powder and soap on a fire ant mound because she wants to pull up a bush that's got fire ants all around the bottom. It's non-toxic to our dogs, but it is toxic as hell to the ants. That fire ant mound will be dead. Let's see, but it'll take a day. Let's see. It's called the little town of Crabapple, is where there's water on the back of a church, and it's just south of Enchanted Rock. So I added that to this, which is our route. And what that does is it makes day one 100 miles. Now that sounds like a challenge. 100 miles, starting as early as we can and trying to get to here, and and setting up camp before it gets dark. And it turns out, not only is there an RV park, that's the island right there, see that? There is an ice house, and Kai is about to turn 21. And he will be 21 by the time we do this in a few weeks. And so everything just starts coming together, right? Like, oh, this is actually a really cool idea. It's gonna be a real bummer if the weather sucks, because this is really freaking cool. And now, talking about it and a little bit of explaining to Emily what we're gonna do. And also we're riding an area that's, like, it's pretty treacherous and there's no water, no help. We're doing it on our own. Emily's like, man, I would like to go support you guys. And I said, well, it is an off-road trail that is going to be really fun. So if you did drive to support us, you would actually have a pretty good time. With the windows down, the truck's got a sunroof, and she just drive along, and she loves the countryside in Texas and the hill country. and she could check all that out. And then we could have a support vehicle just in case. And then with some of the extra camping gear to actually have a nice time camping on this. Because remember, this is more of a recon fun kind of thing. And then eventually we want to create a bike course out of this and maybe turn it into an FKT route, the same as the, the Texas Off-Road 4x4 trail, right? The best parts of it. And then ride it like straight through the night sometime or something like that. But this time, just reconning and all that other stuff. And what we'll try to do is try to make it and use as much of our own gear without support from the vehicle as we can, to see what fails, what works, what was a bad idea, what's a good idea, and get some experience riding in this area. We've done the eastern end of Texas a lot and know what that's like, but this would be all new to us. And you could just imagine. So first time attempt, make it kind of chill, pretend like we're bike packing with no support, and then, but a little bit of support for just in cases, and then also bring Emily along with us so she can enjoy it as well. And then we go through this Castell store on the second day. And yeah, we're gonna wrap around Enchanted Rock. It's gonna be really cool. So then I went to, where'd it go? I went to Garmin Connect, because we're gonna use Garmin's for navigation, and created 2 courses by hand, which we got 100 miles and then 82. So we'll start off here. And that way it's split into 2, so it's not too much memory. And if we have to start over, I've just learned this from doing bike packing, long bike stuff. To break it up into pieces is not a bad idea. So here's where we start in Llano. And then we do this, and then we go over that campground that I was talking about. And then we come down here, and normally we would keep going this way, but we're gonna take a detour here and go to Crabapple down here. And that is this extra spike, these 2 extra spikes, one on the way to Crabapple and one on the way back, for no reason except to check out this water stop, because there might be water here, but we're not sure here at this halfway point. So then we get all the way to here and camp on this island. And that would be day 1. And that would be pretty badass. And then we go to day 2, get up in the morning, start on a new route. And we start over here. And oh, look, if I move the mouse really fast, what does it do? It grew for a second, some little trick. And we go here, and all this, and you can see it's hilly, but it's mostly downhill. And then we finish in Llano with 82.5 miles, so 83, as we go through the Castell store for lunch, or depending on what time we get going. But it opens at like 10 or something like that in the morning. And then we go here, and then we drive I have to drive through Austin, back to College Station, way over here. But it's like a 3-hour plus drive right here. So that's the plan. Let me go back to day 1. And now that you got this hill elevation thing, Dos Rios and Llano to Dos Rios. This is a lot of climbing, but the cool thing is on day 1, the last 16 miles are all downhill, pretty much to that island, like that. So the next thing is when are we going to do this? Well, we talked and got all the dates of everything that's coming up for a while, and figured out the best time to do it is the weekend. My hand's shaking because it's a little bit tired. The best time to do it is the weekend of October 24th, 25th, 26th, something like that. And then we were looking at that, and so everybody agreed that's the best time. I asked off for work, took off a day or two ahead of time as well, got that approved. And as I was getting it approved, I was like, I wonder what day the actual race is that they're putting on that starts on a Thursday that we can't do because it starts on a Thursday. Turns out it's the very same weekend, but they're starting Thursday. I believe it's Thursday morning. But they're going to be either a day or two ahead of us, starting from here and then going here. And this is just a 200 mile or 170 mile to them route. And some people will be stopping in Llano, some people not. You know, so a majority of the people, or a medium amount of people, will be so far ahead of us or even finished by the time we even start. We're not going to start bumping into people until like we get to here, maybe. And then as we roll through on day 2 of us, it'll be day 4 for some of these people finishing in Castell. So we're going to roll through Castell. And it'll be funny. We'll be like, no, we're not part of the race. We're just out here having fun. But we know of the race and are big fans and wanted to do the race. It just didn't work for us to start on Thursday. And then an interesting thing is they don't stop, or they don't start, oh God, I'm trying to get my words straight. Some races that have a longer version, they start the longer version a couple days ahead or a day ahead. And then that way people tend to finish kind of all at the same time. This race is different where everybody starts all at the same time. But I'm gonna double check that just to be sure. It doesn't say, but they require a GPS tracker because of the remoteness. This version of it is not a race where there's no prizes for first or second place, but then you start going down, then it turns into a race. And let's see. But yeah, the start date is October 23rd. And if you go to registration info, register. And let's say that we were doing see, they all start the same day, October 24th through 25th. And actually with the pickup truck with Emily following us, and Kai's a bike mechanic, and I've just got lots of experience of doing stuff. I got a lot of emergency response and survivor, wilderness survival. I've actually taught classes on wilderness survival, and the hill countries where I did a majority of my, about 50% of my wilderness survival kind of stuff. So I can, might be of help to some people, which is kind of cool. And yeah, so that's why we're not doing this race, is because it starts on the 24th and we can't start till the 25th or 26th. So let me pull up a calendar real quick and double check those dates. Actually turns out I'm wrong. They start on Friday, the 24th. Friday morning. Let me double check that again. So yeah, they start on Friday, the 24th. So we will be, let me go back to their, no, not that, and then go back. Get the maps up here. This one right here. So they'll be a day ahead of us by the time they start. And that'll be cool. That'll mean there'll be some more people out there. Us doing our own thing, it allows us to start a day later. By the time that we have Friday, getting all of our stuff together and getting there, and then starting in Llano. And then also, it's $125 per person to ride on open public roads. And we could use that $125 per person plus GPS tracker fee, which is another $60, $80 or something like that, for other things like Kai's college. So that's why we're gonna do our own. And yeah, so that's gonna make it pretty interesting. So also a big question with the plan is, do we do pannier racks? This will be Kai's first time carrying more than before. We've done 320 miles, but I'm gonna carry, I carried a lot, but I didn't have this. And I've got a luggage rack on the back, and this is full of gear from when I did the East Texas 400, and I've just kept everything in here. But for example, hammocks won't work out here because there's not enough trees, and a hammock would be really great. And I'm trying to think what else we would pack. But all the electronics to charge stuff, cold weather gear, winter gear. Kai might not bring a pannier pack at all, and I might not either if we've got Emily to support us. But then what's going to happen is we're going to start loading up stuff and testing stuff out, and I'll bring that to you guys, and we'll make a decision on if we carry how much gear we take with us and what we carry, and how simulated to a real bike packing adventure that we actually do. And that's it so far. I'll keep bringing you more info as we find out.